Good evening, fans of Football Scientific. This is the next episode of the Football Scientific podcast. You can access this on YouTube, and you can also see it on my Substack. I am Aaron Sauter, the host of Football Scientific. Today, I was going to talk primarily about my power rankings, preseason power rankings for the UFL. Training camp starts Monday, March 3rd. Players will report and begin training camp. They're reporting this weekend. Coaches report this at the end of this week. So, I was going to talk about my preseason power rankings and use that as a foundation for predictions in the future. A fun part of UFL is you can bet on the UFL through DraftKings, and that's fun. And I'm pretty good at predicting UFL games. I've shown a track record. If you look at, I write for the UFL News Hub, and they keep track of writers and their predictions. And I've been in the top one or two of that starting last year. So I'm pretty good at predicting these games. I'm pretty good at predicting IFL games. I'm pretty solid at predicting CFL games. Okay, I know my stuff in those leagues. So I was going to talk about my preseason power rankings to set up my predictions for the league for 2025. But then a bigger story hit. I'm still looking to do the power rankings. I got them ready. But instead, I'm going to talk about this bigger story first. And if it takes too long, then I'm going to make it a two-part and do my power rankings tomorrow. This first story is more important than the power rankings, okay? So, here's the situation. James Larson, who works for PFN, Pro Football News. He's a UFL insider. He knows somebody that knows somebody or whatever. And on Twitter, he releases insider information. And one thing that was released today, which caused a big issue, I'll talk about that more in a second, was that the UFL had set up a mini camp for their 24 quarterbacks to attend before the start of training camp. That was, I believe, last week or this week sometime. And those quarterbacks decided to write a letter. They wrote a letter, they all signed it, and they said, hey, we're not going to come to this training camp, this mini camp for quarterbacks to work with a guru who probably costs $100 an hour per player that he works with. I do some private coaching on my time, and it's expensive, okay, to get an expert, especially a professional quarterback guru, to come and work with your players. Okay, so that's a lot of money. The league was not paying the players to come to that mini camp. Okay, but that's not unusual. It's not unusual. NFL quarterbacks go to places to work with these gurus. They pay the guru with their own money. They pay for a place to live while they're working with the guru with their own money. NFL quarterbacks, the best in the world at playing quarterback, pay for their own gurus. They pay for their own lodging and place they stay and food while they're working with those gurus, okay? Now, the UFL quarterbacks looked at the new pay scale. There was a new CBA signed by the union and the ownership. It was signed. It was agreed to. And it roughly pays the UFL players a base salary. It comes out to be $55,000 if you play all 10 games. Okay? Now, it's not exactly how it goes. It's $5,500 per week that you play. Okay? So if you don't play, you're not getting that money. You're going to get a lesser amount of money. Okay? You get $850 for training camp. There's 3 weeks of training camp. So at the end of the day, if you play every game, if you're in the training camp every time, you're going to pay roughly $60,000 American dollars. Okay, I say American because this comes into play. Okay, if you make the playoffs and there's 2 games, the XFL and a USFL championship game, and then the UFL championship game, then you're going to get paid more money, probably close to $70,000. That's going to be for every player. The UFL made a decision last year to not pay quarterbacks their own salary because they don't have the money to do that. And if they overpay average quarterbacks, no offense, average quarterbacks, then they're not going to have a league. Quarterbacks say, hey man, we're quarterbacks. We're not going to get a play for that amount of money. Not happily, and we're not going to show up to a UFL minicamp with a guru that you've paid for because we have to pay for our food and our lodging. Everyone's got to pay for their food and lodging. That's what quarterback gurus make you do. You pay for their food and lodging. They're paying for your opportunity. The league is investing into quarterbacks to make them better. Why? Because they're not the best. They're not the best, and people, fans would like to see them play at a higher level. That's going to get you a better fan base is playing better football. The league is investing in you with a guru and saying, hey, here's a chance to get better, quarterbacks. Come and do this. Come and have the best season you've ever had, most likely in your life. Quarterbacks say, you're not paying us enough money. We're out. We're not coming to the training camp. We're not going to get better because we're not putting extra money to make ourselves better, which every quarterback does at the professional level. Not just UFL quarterbacks. And they're not paying for the guru. The league is. That's crazy to me. Okay? So, I've seen some articles that say this will lead to a player strike. Here's why that's a really bad idea. Why does the UFL pay the way they do? Because that's the money they have set aside for players. Okay? Now, I'm not going to criticize the UFL business plan at this moment. They have a problem. They got issues. The people who were in charge of making the league, including the XFL and USFL, were not experts at making a league. Why do spring leagues fail all the time? Because they have a bad business plan. It doesn't make sense. You can't make a league and hope you make money. And that doesn't work. The NFL doesn't do that. CFL doesn't do that. CFL, people compare the UFL to the CFL. CFL has a business plan, and it works. So, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But that's not really the focus yet. Okay? The focus is, why are you going to go on strike, okay, when the league you're playing for doesn't have more money to pay you? That's dumb. If you go on strike, here's what's going to happen. The league says they'll get replacement players. But here's the real deal. The league will not exist. Because if people aren't coming to see the players you have now, are they going to come see replacement players when they know the league's on strike? No. Baseball couldn't do that. The NFL couldn't do that. They struggled to get crowds when they had replacement players. So now you're going to replace players who are already replacement players who are just practice squad players in the NFL. Yeah, at best. No. The league's going to go under. You just killed the UFL quarterbacks. Nice. Now everyone does not have a paycheck coming in from the UFL. That's the real deal. No one's going to say that. That's a controversial statement. Most people who cover the UFL, they are, properly say, bootlickers. They want to make the UFLs feel good, so eventually the UFL will pay them money. They're amateurs, like me. I'm an amateur writer. They call a hobby writer. I do get paid a little bit. I'm making these videos. I do it mainly for fun. I'm doing it to get some exposure for my articles on UFL News Hub and Substack. Yeah, I'd love to make some money. But do I think I'm going to? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I love football. Am I going to go on strike? If I do, I just don't have a podcast. That would be dumb. Sweet. Okay, so they go on strike. They kill the league. Now you're not getting paid by anybody. The league's dead. And are you going to get fans for a future spring football league? Probably a few, because there's people like me who like to watch football. Let's check it out. Most people will say, nah, that's lame. That's what they say now. Nah, that's lame. It's a minor league football player. There's not enough people to say, you need to expand. These are all bad ideas. All horrible business ideas. Fans are not leaders of leagues for a reason. they're dumb. They're dumb. They're not coaches. They're not players. They're not front office people. Why? Because they don't know what to do. They just say stupid stuff to make themselves feel better. Okay, you got to know that because you may get carried away with hearing fans say things that sound smart. But those things that sound smart are dumb. All right, so here's a situation you have. Most pro leagues get their money to pay players from a media rights deal. Before you start your league, you put a concept of your league out somewhere and you sell it to a media source. And you say, hey, y'all, we would like for you to pay us to put on this league, which will be programming for your channel. You'll make your money back through commercials, and then we'll use the money you pay us to pay our players. Okay, so that way the league is not paying players with loans. So if you don't make your money back, your league goes under. Every league does that in the last 30 years, other than the NFL and football. Okay, the IFL is an exception because they don't seem to go under. They must have a business plan. I don't know it, but they must. They don't pay very much. That's part of the business plan. All right, so because they don't have a media rights deal. Just a digression there. So first you get a media rights deal. You get someone to pay you. Now, the XFL, it showed up on ESPN. It showed up on Fox. It showed up on different channels. But it didn't have a media rights deal. Not a real one. The Rock was paying money to the channels to show their games. He was basically buying 3 hours of advertising to show the game. That's why they lost $20 million in 2023. That's why there's a UFL. Because the USFL and the XFL did not have enough pull with media rights people to get paid up front so they could use that money to fund their league. They paid the media people, hey, we're going to pay you money to put our product on TV. The TV people say, yeah, that's cool because we need something to fill some time anyway. That's how you get to where we're at right now in the UFL. Both leagues were paying money to media rights people rather than getting paid, and they're going on a budget that doesn't make any sense. So instead of folding, which naturally probably should have happened, XFL lost $20 million, should have folded. USFL failed for the second time in their history because in the 80s they failed because they overpaid players. Woo, that's a big topic. The USFL was a competitor, a spring competitor similar to the NFL. They decided to overpay players. Boom, Donald Trump was a part of that. Overpay players. Boop. They moved their league to the fall to become direct competitors. Boop. Went out of business. Gone forever. USFL comes back. Different people. Worst plan. Now instead of billionaires on your teams, the league owns the team. I don't know who owns the teams. No one owns the teams in the UFL. The league owns the teams. That's a bad business plan, y'all. They're not making any money. So you can't go on strike if your league's not making any money. Because your league's going to go out of business. Because you went on strike. No one cares. Literally, it'll be a blip on the radar. Except for those that really like the UFL and are working for helping the UFL become a better league. You're messing yourself up. You're messing yourself up by demanding more money, quarterbacks. Another reason asking for more money doesn't make sense. Because they have no upper hand. You cannot make demands when you have no upper hand. Okay? What am I saying? Well, I'm saying if they were an NFL quarterback, okay, they're NFL quarterbacks, they would make a minimum. I got a card of information, so I'm accurate and precise with my measurements here. Okay? That's a science thing. I'm a chemistry teacher. I like physics and chemistry. Get over it. All right, so NFL minimum for rookies, $795,000 per season. That's 17 games plus preseason plus training camp. $795,000. If any of these quarterbacks could be playing in the NFL, they would be in the NFL. The only exception was A.J. McCarron because he had some other story, but he's gone. Goodbye. The rest of them, if you gave them a chance to play in the NFL, they would play in the NFL today. They'd be out of the UFL. They're only playing the UFL because they're not playing in the NFL. $795,000 to be third string. That's nice. Okay? If you're a practice squad player, a lot of these guys are practice squad players. So you don't get a chance to make $795,000. You get $4,000 a week during the season. That still comes out to more if you have training camp, preseason, and the season, plus playoffs potentially. You're making more than you make in the UFL at $60,000. If I am an NFL practice squad and I'm not released from the team, I'm going to do that instead. If I can do both, I can double up my income. And that'd be a good idea. And someone want to do that. They just can't. They get signed to our practice squad. They go, they can't do anything. They're just trying to get some money, man. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? CFL. You go to the CFL as a rookie right now. If those quarterbacks quit today and go to the CFL together and they get signed, rookie minimum, which is what they're going to get in the CFL because they're all rookies in the CFL, and they're going to get the minimum because everyone does when you go to CFL as a rookie. You're going to pay $70,000 Canadian for an 18-game schedule, plus playoffs, plus training camp, plus you're going to find your own housing. Also, $70,000 Canadian. Sounds more than the UFL, except 69 it's a 69% of the Canadian money equals the American dollar. So that means really what you're making is $48,300 for your rookie season in the CFL. For a 6-month season, you gotta pay for housing and food. Okay, you have to pay for transportation and gas, blah blah blah. For an 18-game schedule, 21-week season, and you're doing that for training camp also. They're gonna give you a place to stay for training camp. They're gonna give you a dorm, okay? You're gonna go to a college, all right? They're gonna maybe preseason. Maybe preseason you get paid a little bit. They give you a place to live, at least for 1 week, because they play on a college campus sometimes. Okay, but $48,300 American dollars, and taxes are crazy in Canada, and you get taxed by Canada and the United States unless you're a Canadian citizen. You're not gonna make anything, man. You're not making anything. You're there for an opportunity. You're there to make something happen. That's why you're also in the UFL. It's for an opportunity to make something happen. The UFL is not a career. It's an opportunity to get a career. These quarterbacks don't see that. Someone's been talking to them, some agent or something who doesn't know anything. Okay? So, that means if you're not in NFL right now, which they're not, and you're not in the CFL right now, which you'd be losing a lot of money if you were, the UFL is your best option if you're a pro-level quarterback. Okay? So, they're getting paid more than they get paid for the CFL. It's a 10-game season. You're not going to get paid $795,000. You're not going to get paid $100,000. The league is not making money. You're going to get paid what everyone else gets paid. That's the deal. You know that. You're playing for an opportunity. On contrast, the IFL, I don't know their pay scale, but I know arena football leagues traditionally play like $200 per game, maybe $400 per game. They'll pay for your housing. They may help you get a job. You may do some ticket sales to make some extra money. That's how it works in the indoor football leagues. The arena league back in its heyday was a little different. They would pay you like $30,000. You go work at FedEx or something. You come back for practice. You make a little money. They help you find some housing during the season. Maybe you'll make $50,000. If you're a good quarterback, in the really good days of the arena football league, they'd pay a good quarterback. You know, someone that came from the NFL, maybe $100,000. You know why they went out of business? Because they paid too much money for average quarterbacks or below average quarterbacks. They paid too much money. They didn't make enough money back. They didn't have a media rights deal that would pay for the bills. So they went out of business. And then we see how it's ended up with AF1. I mentioned that yesterday. I'm not going to rehash that topic. Okay. I mentioned I may not get to the power rankings today. I'll do them tomorrow. Okay, so with that in mind, Quarterbacks draw a line in the sand, you kill your league. You're not playing anywhere. You're making $0 now. That's the reality of this league. If it goes on strike, it's done. I guarantee you it is done. No one's going to say that. No one wants to say that. That's the way it's going to be. You're out, yo. You made it 1 year. That's bad. You shouldn't be asking for more money, man. All right. No offense. I'm going to sound like a team owner or something, but that's dumb. Get better. Okay? All right. So that made me think about things. If I was starting a pro football league today, how would I do it? How would I avoid this struggle? How would I avoid the struggle the NFL's in? We're paying huge salaries for dudes who don't deserve it. How do you avoid this? How do you avoid overpaying? NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, overpaying for what they get. That's why these teams struggle. That's why the Browns stink. They pay too much money to people who don't deserve it. How do you do this? All right, first thing I do, I get my league together. I get a team of people together, investors. I find I get my investors. We get a stadium lease. Okay, we get training facilities. We do the hub city. That works. It minimizes cost. That's a good idea. AJ McCarron didn't like the hub city, but it minimizes cost and it's a good idea for your league. Okay, makes sense. USFL had that idea. UFL is following up. It's a good idea, especially in Texas, because you're not paying state taxes. Players don't realize that probably. They're not thinking clearly. Okay? All right. So, first I'd get my investors. I would go pitch this idea to media rights people, TV channels, radio, Sirius radio, stuff like that. If they don't want to pick me up, I would talk to a streaming service and I'd say, hey y'all, how much money will you pay us for us to give you programming? How much money are you going to pay us? You get to sell advertising. So how much money will you make from advertising by paying us to play games on your channel? That's how it goes. They want to make money. They want to sell advertising. So you say, how much will you pay us so you can sell advertising maybe at a time where you don't have any programming or not very good programming. You're playing the Andy Griffith Show or something. You know what I'm saying? All right. So you get a media rights deal. For that media rights deal, you make sure you have stadiums. That's where the AF1 is in trouble. They don't get leases in advance. They don't have a place to play. What's your team going to do? Play in the parking lot. No one's going to show up. That's dumb. Okay? Okay, so you get your stadium leases. Then you get your budget. Okay? You have to get the stadium lease before you get your budget because you don't know how much you're going to have to pay for your stadium. You don't know what cut you're getting from your concessions. You don't know what cut you're getting from your gate. So you can't make a budget until you have your stadium lease deal rock solid. So you got to do that second. Media rights, that's your capital. That's your money. You can't do anything without capital. You get your money, then you get some stadiums. And you find stadiums with the least amount of rent, they'll give you the most money for your games. Ticket sales, gate, concessions, merchandise, stuff like that is going to make your league successful. Okay? All right, so you find the best venues that allow you to do that. You also want to have some people there. So you want to make sure it has adequate seating and stuff. Because it doesn't make any sense to put on a great game if there's no fans. But it doesn't make sense to have fans if you have no money. You're not going to get fans. It's paradoxical. It's a paradox. I got a cool league, man, but I got no fans because our league's not going to exist next week. Oh, yeah. That's a problem. Okay, so then after I set my budget, with that, I know what I can pay players. I know what I have to pay GMs and coaches. I know I got to pay for the field. I got to pay for training. I got to pay for food. I got to pay for a place for them to stay during training camp. I got to pay for all transportation of the team, hotels, stuff, all that nature. I got to figure that budget out. Okay? Then you look and see how much money you have left. And you say, well, this is what I can pay per player. And I would pay every player the same. Boop. Pay them the same base pay. If they want to have a players union, that's cool. Let's negotiate based on the money we have available, the best base salary. Okay? The rest of your money will come from performance incentives. Now, you're going to be motivated to play good football. You're going to be motivated to get better as a person, as a player, to not make bad decisions, to not get drunk driving charges, because you get paid based on playing and your performance. We all get, let's say, $50,000. To start, every player in the league gets $50,000. Okay? For quarterbacks, I'm focusing on them right now. For every touchdown you throw, I would give you $1,000 more per touchdown or rushing touchdown. I like dual threat quarterbacks. For every touchdown you score, $1,000 will be added to your $50,000 base pay. Okay? Every turnover you produce, interception and fumble, you'll lose $1,000. So if you come and make a bunch of mistakes, you're going to lose all your money. Well, you better not make mistakes. You better be coachable. You better know your system. That would fix a lot of problems in the NFL if they're performance-based contracts rather than being guaranteed money. The only reason you get guaranteed money is because people will overpay you. Okay? The Browns will overpay you. Okay. Got you. So it's performance assessments. The better you play, the more money you make. That's good. Also, the better you play, the more fans want to come see you. Okay? Because you're the media rights still, paying your bills, you don't have to worry about, hey, do we have enough fans here to make sure our game can happen next week? Nope. Well, that stinks, because now we're out of business, or we got to take out loans, and now we're going to be crushed at the end of the season. Or we're going to lose $20,000 for the Rock. Poor Rock. Poor Rock. Okay? So that would be a good foundation for the league. If the players want to go on strike, I close the league. That sucks. UFL's kind of cool. I got some merchandise for the Brahmas. It's going to be out of business. As soon as you go on strike, close the league. Boop. Next year we start over. Business plan. Media rights, investors, everyone gets the same pay. That's what we're doing now. But incentive-based income. You get more money if you play better. Your best players, let's say you throw 30 touchdown passes. You got $80,000. Let's say you throw 30 interceptions with that. You got $50,000. Okay. Jameis Winston would get a base pay because he throws his interceptions to cancel out his touchdowns. Okay? That would really motivate people to work hard. Why don't they do it? Because the other leagues, people are being done with their money. They're not investing well. They don't have a good business plan. That's why there's so many indoor football leagues. That's why the spring leagues fail all the time. The reason the NFL doesn't fail is because they have a great business plan. They get their money first, and then they pay you. That's how it should work. You can't walk into a job interview and say, hey, I'm going to work at, the gas station. I need y'all to pay me $25 an hour. If they only pay $15 an hour or $7 an hour, or you can look at your demand for $25,000 and say, hey, we'll find someone else. That's what they need to do. You know where you can find some more quarterbacks? The IFL. They got 28 quarterbacks, minimum, that would all die for $60,000 to play football. If you write me a letter and you say, hey, y'all, I'm not going to come to this workout because you're not paying enough. I say, hey, don't worry about the workout. You're out. You're all out. Boop. Where's the IFL quarterbacks? Come on in, guys. You got the opportunity of a lifetime to show you deserve to play in the NFL or the CFL. Boom. Huge opportunity. Those dudes will be pumped. What are you going to do in the IFL? NAL, Western Michigan, Ironman quarterback comes up. They refill. Who's going to play in those leagues? About 1 billion hungry players that want a pro opportunity are going to fill in. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Okay? Don't give in to people who don't know what to do. Okay? That's what I would do. Those quarterbacks that we have right now, the 24 quarterbacks, all gone. You're not special. If you're special, you play in the NFL. You'd be on a practice squad. Whatever, you're not. You don't get paid anything unless you play in the UFL. You're not in the CFL, and if you are, you're going to make less money. Okay? That's the reality of the situation. Quarterbacks need to wake up. UFL players need to wake up. You're lucky to be playing professional football. We want to watch you. But I don't want to watch you if it's going to destroy the league. That's dumb. I mentioned this might be a long episode. I have the power rankings ready to go. Some scribbled power rankings. I'll go over those tomorrow. This took too long. But it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So many complaints about expansion. How are you going to expand when you don't have any money? I could go on for days. I could go on for hours about this topic. I'm going to stop now because it's going to take like 2 hours to load this video on Substack. Subscribe to Substack. I got articles. The articles are about the Tiger Cats and the Brahmas. Sometimes the NFL. They're kind of, I'm not going to say they're boring. A little boring. Very repetitive. Videos, much more exciting. No one's paying me for this. So I don't have anyone to say, hey man, don't talk about that. Don't say that about those teams. They won't allow us to cover the league. They're not allowing us to cover the league now. They're not paying me anything. UFL News Hub pays me a little bit. Happy to write for them. CFL News Hub pays me a little bit. Happy to write for them. Okay? Football Scientific, we're looking for sponsors. Retro Bowl, I mentioned yesterday. Sponsor us. Send me some money. That'd be cool. Okay? Under Armour. Love you, Under Armour. Send us some money. The Rock. I'm trying to save your league. Send me some money. Sponsorships. Football Scientific. I'm not AI. A lot of things on YouTube are AI. People want to see perfect videos. They don't want to see a low-budget guy in front of his blank wall doing crazy stuff. But guess what? I don't make any money from this. So I'm not putting money into it because my business plan is to share my passion and maybe someone will pay me for it and then I can get fancy stuff. The other way is dumb. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this long episode of Football Scientific. I will be back tomorrow to talk about the UFL Power Rankings. Scribbled here. They're ready to go. I just didn't get a chance to do it. Hope you have a good evening, or whenever you watch this video. You can subscribe to the channel. That would be cool. You could like the video if you liked it. That would be great. But if you don't, I'm not offended. If you don't like it, you don't like it, man. Or girl, or chat, or whoever you are. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm down. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making the video. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. I'm going to cut myself off. I could talk about this for another hour. And it's just upsetting. Okay. All right. Well, hope you have a good night. And let's have another episode tomorrow of Football Scientific. And let's talk about the preseason UFL Power Rankings. Assuming the league exists after, training camp. Have a good evening. Bye.